All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Star Trek Showa Station, a Star Trek Adventures actual play using the rules by Modiphius Entertainment. My name is ELH, and I'm the Game Master, and joining me are a lovely group of individuals, which we'll meet in a moment. The only real announcement I have at the top of the session is that this coming Friday, Star Trek Aegir will be premiering, and Squiff is in it, Shizno's in it, who else is in it? We have one of the writers for Continuing Mission in it, Kern, and we also have Professor Hex returning and reprising one of his earlier roles. So that should be very exciting. The excitement starts Friday at 9 p.m. right here on Twitch. Other than that, I think we're just going to sort of get everyone introduced, run the intro, and start playing. So yeah, Squiff, what do you got going on?
Hello, everyone. I'm Lone Swift, and I'll be playing Commodore Taraz, the commander of Showa Station. And as ELH said, you check out our new game on Friday and see my new character. I'm excited. And I'm looking forward to playing with everybody today. Check out our promenade.
Very nice. Cad, what do you got going on?
I'm Cad Baineshead, who plays Sean Callahan here on the station. Don't have much going on other than personal life things. September's busy. That's really, so I get this and then life.
Well, at least we get you a little reprieve during your day. Yes. Or during your week. All right, Rockette, what do you got going on?
Yes, hello, I am Rockette, and I'm playing your mostly friendly security chief, Shi'shista. And also excited to see what the station has to hold. And if you want to see more of my stuff, you can check me out over on Cybernation Uncensored sometimes. And very soon, there's going to be another place I will materialize as soon as I can say it. Ooh. So hold on to that in your pocket.
Is it Rob doing the secret thing?
Actually, well, I don't know if that's been announced. Two secrets. So many secrets. I sit on a throne of secrets.
I think we know a secret now.
Yeah. Love it. Certainly last but not least, Ars, what do you got going on?
Yeah, I'm Ars Animus. I play the chief engineer on Showa Station, Vakoya, and I'm just happy to be here. Much appreciated. Excited for tonight.
Love to hear it. And yeah, let's get that intro video going. Techno Nerd, take it away, buddy. All right, and welcome back. So, something I like doing with all my Star Trek games is having the players doing opening log, and today that is going to fall to our lovely Cation security officers. So, Rockette, take it away with Shi'shista.
Chief of Security Log, Stardate 0698.3. Operations on Showa Station have finally begun to develop some sort of order. The Kozo marriage incident has been handled, insofar as we've not seen the return of this supposed self-proclaimed prince, a claim to which I've seen no documentation. In the past few days, I've had the opportunity to begin thoroughly exploring the station so that I will be completely familiarized with its ins and outs, as my security minions say, as well as deciphering who on the station has a looser relationship to the law. The Kozo princess herself has been acceptable in her duties as an up-and-coming civilian security watch, Her height and the mere threat of this transformation, she assumes, seems to be enough of a threat to dissuade any want-to-be criminals and mischief makers. She did have a curious reaction to Ensign Jonathan Lobster in the promenade. I have made a note to engineering to fashion less throwable tables. Currently, we are investigating a theft from one of the station's merchants, a Tellarite named Wham. Evidently, a priceless heirloom has been stolen, and it seems we have nothing more pressing to attend to than this lost and found mission. This Wham has been a Rathalian flea on my ear during this entire escapade, as the commander has put, difficult to work with.
Very nice. You may have a momentum for your efforts. And where we're going to begin is on the promenade, and we zoom in past Liquor is Logical, of course, the Vulcan Run bar, where we see Wham's stall. Now, Wham is, for lack of a better descriptor, he is a general merchant, meaning that you can get food with him, you can set up trade deals. You know, he's kind of like a Quark without the bar, if you catch my meaning, where if you need something sourced, you go to Wham. But what I'd like to imagine is, Shi'shista, you're there, taking notes maybe, with, you know, your security minions, or maybe the princess is there. But Wham is, as a Tellarite, he's already not happy. That's just kind of how he comes. But today he is particularly annoyed. And I'm going to attempt to do a little bit of a voice. But as, you know, you finish jotting down his last statement, he says, "I have told you the third time today. It is an heirloom of my family. It is a crystal the size of a human football. I do not understand why this is so hard, why I have to keep repeating myself."
Wham, must we go over this again? Crystals come in many different colors, many different densities. There are so many different things that can happen with these crystals. Can you please be more specific to what it might look like?
Well, it looks like I should be talking to a more competent security officer, is what I'm hearing.
Listen, do you want this thing back or not?
You know what? I think we're going to roll for it. I think this is a perfect roll. So, Shi'shista, give me a presence security difficulty of 1.
I was born for this.
I would hope so.
Right. Well,
Smack him with your tail.
Yeah, he's about to get smacked. All right, so, and I believe so. I just got up. Which one did you say?
Presence and security.
Presence and security. This will go so well.
Hmm.
I do have a focus in negotiation, and I would just call this very, very direct negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. This will go well.
Yes, that did good.
Well, you know,
Hey.
you do get a momentum, but there's a complication. And I'll ask that,
You know
and I'm
what?
going to start doing this a little bit more, where I'm going to let you guys maybe contribute some of the complications, because that's fun. Everybody loves complications. So, Rockette, would you like to make the complication, or should I?
I think the complication is going to have to do with, well, my initial thinking is that this Wham is just completely continuing to be pressing on Shi'shista's nerves.
Okay. And actually, I think that tracks because, you know, Tellarites are very confrontational, very argumentative. So I think he kind of takes your, you know, the threat, quote unquote, and he says, so I see that the kitty does have claws. Was wondering when they were going to come out. Now, that's all well and good, but maybe if you stop hissing at me for 2 minutes and listen, you'll understand what you're supposed to be looking for in the crystal.
I hate you.
That's good, because I hate you.
Listen, if there was anything, so help me to do right now, other than she kind of looks him over this. She slaps her notebook closed, like almost like she's clapping it at his face. Fine. I will keep my eyes peeled for this.
Well, you should keep your eyes peeled on that. And he points across the way. And I'm actually going to go to Cad here. So, Commander Callahan, where are you at in the promenade? And as I said off stream, you get to describe a locale. It can be a stall, can be an embassy, can be a shop, can be a bar, whatever you want, but you got to be in it. So what are you at in the promenade?
So this is like a giant rec center. It has like bowling alley, pool table, arcade, lawn games, like simulators, the whole shebang, VR, everything.
Nice.
It is a one-stop entertainment shop.
Love it. Do you have a name for it, or should I make one up?
Make one up. I hadn't got that far yet.
Gotcha. So let's call this one Recreation in the Stars. That's a decent name. It's run by a Betazoid, but the reason I have Wham alluding to it with Shi'shista is because Commander Callahan, you're also aware of this being there, there's, I guess you would call it a slight domestic disturbance, where it seems that a date is not going very well, and I'd like to paint the picture that it is another Cation. She has dark fur, very like jet black fur, and she is with a human male, maybe about mid-20s by the look of him. And they are having a very heated argument, and you kind of get snippets of it as you maybe listen in. They seem to be having an argument over whether or not it counts as a 5-10 split or a 9-10 split in bowling. So they are just having a very loud argument at the current moment.
So is it like something that would seem like it could get violent, or are they just having a very loud banter back and forth?
Well, Mr. Callahan, why don't you roll me, and you know what, Shi'shista, I'm going to have you roll this too, get you guys some momentum. Why don't you both give me a insight and security at a difficulty of 0. So free momentum as long as you pass.
Yay.
All right, well, there's one success from Callahan. Very good. Oh, and I got a complication from chat. I know what that's going to be. And another from Shi'shista. Very nice. You guys are up to 3 momentum by my count. So, yeah, Shi'shista, you know that stance indication where the tail is flicking back and forth agitatedly. The hair on the back of the neck is stick. You know that kitty is ready to start slashing.
Ears are slightly starting to go back.
Callahan, you notice the same thing just from a different angle. You notice that the gentleman is... to put it lightly, he's trying to be the alpha male, if you get the drift, where he's trying to be the big blustering one and might start throwing hands like an imbecile. How you two react to that, I leave to your discretion.
Do I notice Shi'shista across the way and noticing this?
Your call.
I'm going to say I do it. I'm going to lean over to whoever's going to be the attendant around us on there and go, I bet you a drink that the security officer hits him first before she does.
Make it 2 drinks.
Deal. You get me 3 if they hit at the same time.
I like where you're thinking. I like it.
On seeing this, Shi'shista kind of turns toward that and then like shoots eyes back at Wham. Just kind of, she makes kind of a claw thing at him. He
does it back too.
Really,
like he mimes it back to you and rolls his eyes.
And then she just goes stalking over there, very aggressively.
As you get closer and closer, you get more and more of the conversation, and you hear, I don't care what you think. I know how to throw a bowling ball. It's very easy, and if you had eyes that are green and very lovely, but you must be blind. How can you not see where the pins are? Well, maybe if you stopped insulting my eyesight, maybe this wouldn't be such a bad date. What do you mean it's a bad date? This is an amazing date. I took you to bowling on the premier station in the frontier. Well, maybe I wanted to go shopping. Well, you always want to go, and this just keeps going.
Shi'shista is going to come up and walk like right up to his face, like just right up to his face, almost like touching his face with her face.
Who the hell are you?
You're causing a disturbance in this Funland place.
Funland place, that's the new name.
You better listen to her. She's the expert on Funland places.
I am the most fun. Now, what's your problem?
So let me ask this, Shi'shista. Would you have I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Would you have your security minions around, or are you kind of doing the Odo thing where you're just solo patrolling at the moment?
I think she would have probably like one hovering around, probably not like with her, but like within helping range.
Okay. So I think the Alpha Chad, as I'm just going to call him, he kind of looks you up and down, looks at his date, looks at the extra security man and says, "Oh, whatever, this isn't worth it. You and me, we're through, babe." And then he like hastily like goes over to the bowling ball and like starts throwing them down the alley. Like he is throwing a fit. Like he is just like taking bowling balls and just throwing them down the lanes and making a whole bigger scene than he really needs to.
Are you a child? What is going on here? And she's gonna like just stomp over to him, and with her tail, she's gonna like kind of grab around his arms to pin them down so he stops throwing the bowling balls.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Let me go. I am doing nothing illegal.
It's illegal to bowl in this fashion.
No, it's not. In fact, I have bowling shoes on. You don't.
Well, I don't like the tone of your voice. And she turns around and starts like pulling him with her. You're going into the brig.
That counts. You owe me. I win.
Nice. And as Shi'shista and Callahan, as you two deal with that, we're now going to sort of shift across the way, where we're now going to look at where Vokaya is. So, Vokaya, what is your addition to the promenade?
Oh, tough question. A pharmacy.
A pharmacy. I like it. Now, would you say that this is kind of like Bashir's sickbay in terms of a pharmacy, or is this sort of like a come here to get your supplements style pharmacy?
I would say not like I would say independent from Starfleet.
Okay, so basically a walk-in clinic that's not Starfleet. Okay,
Yeah,
work with that.
yeah.
Do you have a specific alien in mind, or should I make that up?
Something. Yeah, no, I'm not really sure who would be who would make sense for this.
I
Yeah,
think
you're
I've got
welcome
an
to make
idea.
something up. Yeah, definitely.
So I'm going to say that it literally just is one of those things where the clinic isn't named. Like the lighted sign above the door literally just says clinic with an arrow and maybe that,
Nice.
Red cross sign. But everybody on the station, so all of you would know this, it is actually run by a Denobulan. And the Denobulan is going to be named... Oh, what name should I give him? Let's call him Dars, D-A-R-S. And Dars will fix you up if Starfleet turns you away. He's not exactly on the level, but he's also not really doing anything illegal. He's kind of like, if I were to use a cyberpunk reference, he's kind of a Ripper Doc, where as long as you pay him, he does a good job.
Yeah.
But it's also something where a lot of the time nobody asks where he gets certain things from. Kind of a interesting relationship with station security, to say the least.
Doesn't make waves, but doesn't necessarily go under them either.
Exactly. And all I'm going to ask Ars is, why is Vokaya there?
Good question. I would say maybe she's trying to get some kind of like tea or supplement that she maybe had on her home planet, and because Starfleet isn't really affiliated and there's rebellions going on, that he would be able to come by it.
Okay. So Dr. Dars, he listens to your request and he says, well, I suppose I might have something in the back. How much of it do you want? Do you just want like an afternoon tea, or is this like a private stock?
I would say more of a private stock situation.
I see. Well, and, he starts tapping on his pad, looking through his inventory. I think I might have a box, assuming you have the latinum for it.
I definitely do. This tea is highly caffeinated, and Starfleet wouldn't really approve of it.
I was about to
Sure.
say, I am supposed to warn you that consuming more than double the recommended daily allotment, you would be, as the humans say, bouncing off walls.
Thankfully, that's exactly what I'm looking for, just, slightly lower because I'm used to it.
Oh, if you would look over here, and he kind of does one of those things where he turns slightly and motions for you to look at his pad over his shoulder, and you would notice, Vokaya, out of the corner of your eye, that you see Shi'shista dragging the gentleman throwing a fit, out of the fun time place thing, as we're going to call it, clearly.
Right.
So whether or not
Definitely.
you actually go in with the subterfuge or you just keep doing it normal, totally your call.
Oh, I definitely go in with his like covert, yeah, sign the pad and point. If that's I'm guessing what he's going for, right?
Yeah, you got it. And as soon as you sign the dotted line and you hand over the shipment of, or the payment of Latinum, he says, "Very good. It will arrive at your quarters at 0900 tomorrow."
And I definitely like give him that respected head nod, and I don't linger, just move along.
So last but not least, before we go back to Shi'shista and we follow her for a little bit, so Commodore, where are you in the promenade? Or I'll give you an alternate idea. We also could visit you in your office, and we could see what your office is like. So your call, which we do.
I will do the promenade.
Okay, so what new thing is on the promenade, and why are you there?
So the location that Taraz is in, is one of those stalls that at first glance looks like it's a temporary one you'd find in the mall, but then you realize that this is actually built into the station, and you're not quite sure how they did this. And it is totally a Showa tourist trap. There's all sorts of little trinkets, little miniature Showa stations. There's, hats with the emblem on them and t-shirts galore. And there's a Ferengi there peddling all the wares. And Taraz is actually not in uniform at the moment. She's kind of trying to go incognito on the promenade. So the Ferengi doesn't quite know who she is as she's checking out all these things.
Okay. Ferengi have a name, or should I make one up?
The Ferengi's name is Tenek.
Temek, could you spell it for me so I can have it in my notes?
Tenec.
Tenek. I was thinking Tumek. Okay. Cool. Got it. All right. So, Tenek, and let me see if I can do my Ferengi voice today. I think I've got enough moisture in my throat to do it. Let's see if I do it. Well, as you can see, good lady, this shirt is made out of the finest materials. It is sourced directly from the Ryzians. And I don't know if you know the Ryzians. They make the best party shirts.
I'm looking for something a little bit smaller. Do you have perhaps a model that I could put on a desk of the station?
Oh, yes. If you look over here, I have everything from your human Christmas tree ornament to a actual 1 to 20 scale of the station.
Oh, that's quite an impressive model.
Yes, it's actually quite valuable. It is a very lucrative thing to buy. I only have the one in stock.
Taraz just kind of like leaning in to look at it and see how detailed it is. Mm-hmm. It's even light up. This is impressive.
Yes, it's actually one of the premier die-cast models that I've been able to get my hands on.
Is there a set of these different station models?
Well, yes, it's actually a new business venture of mine and my brother's. You see, he makes the models and I sell them.
Yes, I'm very interested in these.
Well,
let's talk.
And he shows you a pad with many, 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 many zeros on it. Well, I don't know if this is in your budget range, but that's a fair asking price if you ask me.
Just kind of look the pad over, ponder for a moment, and then look at the model again. This is so well detailed. How exactly did your brother get so much information about the station in such a short time?
Let me see. Give me a presence command, difficulty of 2.
Okay.
And yeah, it is a 1 to 20 scale, so it is a big model. In fact, it probably takes up most of the stand. It's big.
Let's see. I have a focus in negotiation or spycraft might apply here.
You know what? I'd give you both.
And it's a difficulty of, what did you
2.
say? 2?
Mm-hmm.
I am going to spend 1 momentum.
For the third die. And survey says... There you go. 3 successes. You get the momentum right back. I think he starts to look at you with kind of narrowed eyes, and he's like, well, let's just say that we had our sources within the Corps of Engineers.
You know, something this prominent, something this large, I think this would actually, you should talk to the station command about this. Putting it like on a display in a public area. Think of all the business that might attract to your little kiosk here.
You know what? That is an excellent idea. And, oh dear, what is that? And we're now going to shift to Shi'shista. So Shi'shista, I've gotten out of the fun time place thing. That's got to be the name. Like, I'm sorry, that's the new name of it.
Can we have like an android?
You've gotten out of the fun time place thing, and you're still dragging the guy
idea.
throwing a temper tantrum like a toddler. But I'm actually going to have the complication be that he is trying his damnedest to get out of your grasp at this point. So I'm going to have you give me a fitness and a security at a difficulty of 3. And I would say, let me check your focuses. And actually, I think maybe
I do have hand-to-hand combat.
Would apply. I just have to look at the wording on your prehensile tail to make sure it gives you anything. Let me see. You know what? Technically, this is a fitness test that is maintaining balance, so you automatically get a bonus d20. So you'll be rolling 3 at the start.
Hey. All right. And let's see. Complication of 3. Focus. Okay. This is going to go well.
I would hope so. There you go. 4 successes.
Oh,
You actually get
what's up?
You actually get a momentum. So it's one of those things where
she squeezes him even tighter.
And it's one of those things where, as you squeeze tight, he's like, hey, come on, has to be abuse or something. Come on. We don't have to do this here. We can do this somewhere else.
Oh, she will spin around and look at him. I'm sorry. Did you say abuse? You went to see what abuse looks like.
And I have to decide how mean I want to be as a GM. How mean do I want to be? How mean? Let me ask you, Rocket. How mean do you want me to be?
Oh, you know what? Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So I'm going to roll something for him before I describe what I have in mind, because, again, I want to be fair and impartial to a degree. So, you know what? I won't give him any threat, but we will just roll the 2d20 and we'll see what he gets. Oh, dear. So what he's going to do is he is quite literally going to spit in your face. It is very unpleasant.
I knew it.
He is very much on your shit list, I imagine, at this point. But what I'm going to say is part of him...
anything involving his mouth is going to just really not be happy for her.
I believe it. So part of the spit hitting your face is maybe it just for a moment your grip loosens just a bit, but that bit is enough that he wriggles out of your grasp and goes sprinting towards where the Commodore is currently talking it over with Tanek. And what I'm going to say is, Shi'shista, Tanek, you all have a chance here to stop the gentleman. But the way the guy's running, you think he's going to collide right with that stand. And, oh, well, that's a very nice model that could go clattering onto the floor, if you get where I'm going with this.
Shi'shista does take off after him.
Okay. And real quick before I have you roll, Commodore, are you going to do anything? You're muted, as is tradition.
I had to be the one. Mm-hmm. I would like to create an advantage.
All right, what advantage do you want to create?
As I'm talking to the Ferengi here, going over the different wares, talking about the station, she just kind of nudges the stand where the station is just a little bit further out, so the Cation is going to hit it.
So, what I would say is, Rocket, if you want to give me another fitness security, I'm going to set the difficulty here to 2. As long as you succeed, you catch the guy before a mess is made.
Can I be casually walking as I see her struggle and chase after him? Just nice and casual, heading that direction.
Cool. And also, Vokaya, would you have lingered long enough to stay, long enough to see this, or would you think Vokaya would have exited out by now? Totally your call.
Well, as far as like the pharmacy or the medic shop, she would have walked away from that. But I'd say she's probably still walking along the promenade for sure.
Good. All right. Well, Shi'shista, let's get that fitness security and there you go. You get your 2. Woo. So, and it's one of those things where thanks to Taraz nudging the stand a little bit, the guy only clips the corner, doesn't send the model flying anywhere, but he goes sprawling to the floor. And then, I don't know, do you want to like pounce and tackle him to the ground? Do you want to, like just, again, tail and snare him? Like, describe for me what it looks like when you get a hold of him again.
So she's been in a bad mood all day. She woke up on the wrong side of her cat bed, and when he started, especially after this whole spitting thing, she actually goes down and does like an actual cat run after him. And when he falls down, she just like springs onto him and lands on top of him.
Now, very much a cat owner question. Do you do the scritchy, like playing a keyboard or meeting dough? Do you do that thing where they're agitated with you and they just need you?
So what she's going to do is at this point, she's kind of just sitting on him, and she's just like, just a little bit of a needling, just to show that she could just let the claws come out a little bit more. Love
it. So, of course, all of you see this, and the Ferengi's like, oh dear, well, that's an exciting thing. Maybe we should resolve that before we finish business. Hold on, wait a second, I know you. Where do I know you from?
Taraz is gonna, pocket fold or whatever. It's like, take out a pair of Starfleet regulation cuffs and just hand them over to Shi'shista. Here you go.
Can I from the back be like, oh, Commodore, I didn't know you like to shop for lovely knickknacks or something.
Wait, you're the Commodore? Oh, shit, you're Taraz. Oh, I am in so much trouble.
It's always nice to send little gifts to the grandkids, Callahan.
I'm just going to sit there looking at the Ferengi and look down at this poor human on the ground and be like, well, I am very thankful that you won me a few drinks. I'm going to give you a little word of advice. Don't be you. Just whatever you are doing, just stop. Because it's not working for you.
And Shi'shista is going to, without like breaking eye contact with him and like still needling a little bit. Commander, what exactly are these drinks you were talking about?
I made a bet with the guy at Fun Rec Place that you would hit him before he hit you. Thank you. One's for you if you want it.
She leans even closer to where like she's just like breathing on him. You realize that anything leaving your body and touching mine is assault. And at that point, real quick, she leans back and she just like punches him in the face.
Nice. I was waiting for it. So I'm going to say, without a roll required, if you want to knock him out cold, he can be out cold. But I also like to imagine at this point, Vokaya, before the Cation woman who was party to all this, comes up and says something. Vokaya, I'd like you to roll me an insight engineering because something about the model has caught your eye. Just something about it. Just something. There's just a something. And I'm going to say the difficulty here is only a 1.
Okay.
And if you have anything related to model construction, starship construction, star base construction, all things that would apply here.
Either, I don't mean to repeat myself, but I don't know, either promenade maintenance or xeno engineering.
I could give you both. I think both could apply here in a way.
Awesome. Okay, perform task. I'll just try the 2.
Okay.
Focus.
And there you go. There's your 1 success.
Nice.
So you realize that the lighting is a little too realistic. In fact, the more you look around the promenade than look back at the model's lighting is a legitimate live feed of what the station is currently lit up like. And if you get even closer and like look through the windows on the model, you see little holographic figures walking around and, oh, look, it's you and the Commodore. and Shi'shista on top of the poor guy who's now out cold, and the commander.
Yeah, like she can't even believe what she's saying. She's like doing that thing like when you see yourself in a security camera and are trying to like wave. She's like waving and seeing her hologram move, and she like calls the commander over, and she's like, Commander Callahan, jump up and down.
I'm gonna give her a very weird quizzical look on what?
Just jump up and down.
I'm gonna do like one of those like little half-assed little like kind of barely at the tip of your toes little things.
She's like, you're lucky I'm not messing with you. Take a look at this.
I'm gonna look in and I'll notice it. As soon as I notice it, I will look at the Ferengi and be like, okay, would you prefer me to escort you, or do you want Miss Anger over here? You have 2 seconds.
Sometimes I'm really into that sort of thing, but not today. I'll take you, Commander.
Very good. Come with me. Shi'shista will follow you.
Fine.
And, Vokoya asked for permission to tag along to ask him about this thing as well.
Please confiscate it as well. This is a security breach.
They've got to be tied into the main computer core or something like that to be able to be getting where everybody is.
We will be finding out, won't we? And he's going to be very cooperative. I'm sure he will.
Best cooperative. Rule of acquisition number 13. Always cooperate with your captor.
See? He's smarter than he lets on. Let's go.
All right. So, I guess I now have to look at the Commodore. Where are you going to go during all of this? Are you going to help with the confiscation, or?
Where is the Cation female?
She's kind of like doing that. I'm trying to forget the word. That bystander thing where she's like, haha, look at that idiot. Can you believe it? I went on a date with that fool, kind of a thing. So she's around, but now that the scene is ending, she's starting to filter off back. But if you wanted to grab her real quick and have a chat, it's very easy to do so.
I think the Commodore is going to take one of the cameras here from this kiosk.
Mm-hmm.
And bring it over to this female Cation.
Okay.
And say, sometimes the dates don't go quite as well or quite like you planned, but having one of these and like hollow camera, whatever equivalent,
mm-hmm.
You could capture these moments, you could relive them with a loved one, find that special someone. I think you'll be okay. And she'll kind of hand it to her.
Thank you.
Maybe you should give the guy a second chance. He was trying to impress you, I think.
That was him trying to pimp. Are humans this barbaric?
Am I in earshot of this?
I think you would hear some of that, yeah.
And you're just going to give it, no, we are not.
Okay.
The commander tries to impress me too.
Okay, so
Thanks,
what I've learned
Mom.
in the past... What I've learned in the past 10 minutes is that I apparently need to not date humans. That's what I've learned.
Cross-species dating can be rough.
Yeah, you know what? I think you Vulcans have the right idea. You know what? I'm gonna go after a nice Vulcan boy. Maybe in the middle of his Ponfar or something. That might be exciting.
You might want to be careful with that.
She kind of looks you up and down and says, all right, sure. Who are you exactly?
Oh, forgive me. Commodore Taraz.
Oh, yeah, you're the head of the station. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'll take your advice. Maybe I'll look for little not much in the Ponfar business.
Maybe try to find a nice Cation fella,
Oh, I mean, have you met male Cajuns? They're not great.
If you find the right one, you get a little vacation getaway, take some pics together, spend an entire lifetime together. I'm sure it could happen.
Respectfully, ma'am, I don't see myself with vacation.
My
And as
God,
that
you're
awkward
so
conversation
old.
continues on, we are going to transition to, well, I'm going to let Shi'shista and the commander decide. So, would you like it to be the security station similar to what Odo's is on DS9, where it is promenade access? Or would you like something maybe a bit off the promenade, maybe actually within the corridors kind of a thing? Would you like the brig to be there? Would you like an interrogation room? What does your security hub look like, I guess is what I'm getting at here.
I think for a station like this, she'd have something right off the promenade
Okay.
to keep an eye where the most crime might be happening.
Okay.
There would definitely be, I think there are more brig cells in the more official area, but in her office, there'd be one that she can question people from.
Okay. And then let me ask this. In terms of, because I'm trying to remember, because again, we are right before TOS, right before Discovery, so I think force fields are technically a thing at this point in the timeline. So would you have the Enterprise-style bars, or would you actually have force fields? Because technically force fields would be newer technology, so I guess what I'm asking is, does Shi'shista trust force fields in this instance?
I think right now there would be force fields, and she's not too sure about it. And she's thinking about maybe getting the force field removed and bars installed.
Okay.
But that hasn't happened yet.
Okay. So then the last question I have before we get into a little bit of roleplay is, I'm assuming you're going to throw Mr. Unconscious into a cell and then question the Ferengi with the commander?
Yes.
All right. And Vokai, after you finish confiscating the model and getting it somewhere safe, you can walk in at a dramatically appropriate time. I'll leave that to your discretion. And of course, Commodore, if you also want to enter at a dramatically appropriate time, I want to leave the door open. But yeah, after you get the Ferengi in his interrogation cell, I guess as we'll call it, he kind of does that Ferengi thing where he puts his wrists together and kind of holds up his hands, almost like a handcuff thing, but it's the Ferengi like plead, if you will. And he says, "Listen, we can be reasonable about this. You don't need to keep me in here."
And say, yeah, well, we need to look over some paperwork first. We'll be back. And I'm just going to activate the force field, leave him there for a little bit so I can talk with Shi'shista before we get on there, and just to let him cook a little bit.
So what did this one do, except for selling cheap recreations of things?
The thing was, it wasn't cheap, and it was an exact recreation down to our movement.
Our movement?
Yes, there was little models of everyone on the station recreating what we were doing.
In real time?
Real time.
She is going to spin and turn and look at this guy, and she is really having a day. So she's gonna storm over there and almost as if she's gonna walk into it, and then she kind of like, I don't want to say bounces off the force field, but she gets a little close to it, and then she steps back. What are you doing peeping on everyone?
It's above board. I swear it's above board.
You're saying a lot of things that aren't words.
And Shi'shista, I want you to roll me another presence security here. Difficulty of, I'm actually gonna make it a 4.
Okay.
Can I assist on this?
You may assist with your own presence security as long as you come in and do a good cop, bad cop situation.
Oh, that we definitely can do.
I
have a focus in diplomacy. Would this work?
It would.
Nice. Focus in negotiation.
Also
would it be worth using any of the momentums we have, of which there are 3?
I think you're actually at 1 momentum at the moment by my look. Yeah, I've got you at 1 because of the advantage that we made. But the 1 could get you 3 dice. That would bring you up to 3 dice, and then you get the assist die.
Let's do it. Get it out of here.
Let's do it.
All right. All right. Here we go.
Yeah, Lord Exile, I got the one from chat. Don't worry about it. Okay, well, interesting. So, let me actually see real quick. I think you also have not only... Yeah, you have Disarming Nature, Shi'shista, and Criminal Minds. So, your Disarming Nature actually brings that down from a 4 to a 3, so you do pass. So, that's the good news.
Yay.
The other good news is that you... And I'm actually going to rewrite this because I think limiting this to reason only is kind of lame. So I'm just going to say whenever you're interrogating someone and I feel it's appropriate, you can use Criminal Minds. It doesn't have to be reason. You're going to get to ask a bonus question, which I will have to answer honestly. And obviously the Ferengi's going to have to answer honestly. But what you get initially when you start to drill him with Callahan coming in is he says, well, Okay, as I was telling the Commodore, my brother was, he was friends with one of the engineers that built this whole thing. And I don't know if you know this, but there's like a security feed that's not on the official schematics.
Oh,
And how do you have access to it? Or your brother?
Well, you see, it's actually real easy to look into. If I could have that pad the commander's holding...
I think without even asking, Shishista's just going to like snap it out of his hands and hit the thing to lower the force field and just like push it at this guy.
All right. So the Ferengi actually taps a few buttons and then he spins the tablet around. And yeah, you now see a live feed of yourselves in the brig looking at him. And there's kind of like that, infinity effect at his screen as it keeps going on and on and on.
Callahan, I don't like this. And she hands it back over to him.
He said, no. Well, how did you all find this feed and why were you looking for it?
Well, we didn't exactly go looking for it. We just sort of wanted to get a real view of the station, make it seem authentic.
Well, as good as an intention is that way, and Callahan's going to start going some bluffing to see if I can get some more out of him. Starfleet Protocol 165-3 states that any non-authorized personnel in having a what I say? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Having classified information without express clearance is clearance for immediate ejection from the station. We don't
wait, you mean like out of an airlock?
Out of an airlock, yes.
Well, good thing I like you. Your stuff's kind of cool. So maybe we can come to some sort of agreement on here.
Now, before we forget, Shi'shista, what is the one question that you do get for free thanks to Criminal Minds?
I think the additional free question would be... Yeah, a Ferengi would have information on the goings on of the station. You, who else knows about this?
I swear, it's just me, my brother, and I guess you guys now. Oh, and I guess the engineer that we got the information from in the first place, he knows too.
And she's just going to turn to Callahan. This right here. It's why I can't get along with Ferengis. You see it. You saw it yourself.
Oh, and I guess the engineer's wife, she knows. Oh, and I guess they got a kid. He's like 6. I don't know if humans can think that early, but they have a kid. Maybe he knows.
So what's the profit in having this exact replica?
Well, I mean, you saw or maybe you overheard the Commodore. That kind of thing is really, really cool to have. It's a really cool model.
It is, but wouldn't it be too much of a risk?
Well, to be honest, we weren't expecting to get caught, so,
So you're stupid.
No, I am an opportunist.
Everything is visible from inside of the windows. How do you mean you didn't expect to get caught?
Well, I didn't expect the security officer and the Commodore and the commander and the chief engineer. I didn't expect
to
you all
walk
to
around the station.
Well, like, look at the model really closely. I thought, you guys weren't into models.
You clearly don't know our Commodore.
Shisa gets real, like, just right up in his face. I love models.
Oh, well, good news then. I've decided to gift you all the model. Hooray!
That's the first thing you will have done. And she kind of backs out of the area that he's in and immediately like puts the force field back up. Gallahan, do you have any more questions for this creature?
Let's say I just need the name of that security engineer that he spoke about.
Well, before I answer, I'm actually going to turn to Vokaya. So Vokaya, you have the opportunity here to make up an NPC that I'm going to pick on. So I would just need a species, can be nearly any species, and male, female, or other.
It can be any species.
Any species that would be appropriate for the time. You can't have an Iconian. Like an Iconian
no
couldn't
doubt.
be here.
Would Orion be appropriate?
I could give you an Orion, sure. Male, female, or other. I would point out that if you did make her a female, she would have the pheromones, which might be interesting.
That's true. Okay, yeah. Let's mix it up. Let's do that.
Okay. Then the Ferengi is going to answer, well, I think it was Master Chief Gina. And Gina is Jina.
And where's your brother?
Well, at this time of day, he's probably at Licorice Logical.
Perfect. And on that, I'm just going to basically turn heel and kind of beckon Shi'shista to follow me.
Shi'shista also, allow me to ask this, meta-wise. Along with the force field, would there be something that just like cuts the noise out, that puts, say, like just a blanket of silence around this cell?
Oh, very easily. That's actually one of the features of force fields, is you can cut off all noise if you want.
Wonderful. She immediately like adjusts it to where it's just going to
Nice.
No more sounds from him.
Okay. And you see him like doing again the Ferengi thing, and he's speaking, but you can't actually hear him. It's great.
Especially for a Ferengi, because he would like hear everything. So you really cut him off.
Mm-hmm.
With the pad, is it still sent to like that security feed?
Would I be able to close it out? Yeah, it's still there.
Would I be able to move it to Licorice Logical so I could try to locate this Ferengi if he tries to go anywhere?
Sure. Go ahead and give me a control engineering difficulty of 1.
All right. I got nothing to help me with that.
If you ask.
Hey, there you go. You actually get a momentum. Nice. And, oh, hey, I got a complication from chat. So the pad does change to Licorice Logical. You sort of see that. I don't think I described it before, but I'm thinking of it more like a synthwave bar where it's like neon blues and pinks and kind of has that retro human feel to it. But you do see a Ferengi at the bar. The bartender is, of course, doing the bartender thing with the glass and the cloth. But the complication is going to be that seated next to him is going to be the Orion you might be looking for, or at least you're pretty sure based on the fact she's in a Starfleet uniform and she has the Master Chief pips that she's probably who you're looking for. And they seem to be having a conversation. The pad doesn't tell you, obviously give you an audio feed, but it does give you a visual feed. They seem to be very animated, very back and forth.
I'm going to then take this and show it to Shi'shista to be like, wow, that actually is a little convenient. A twofer.
I don't like being watched.
I don't either. That's why we're watching them. And we're cutting this thing off.
And the chat complication is going to be, as you all say that, and we're going to go break here in a moment. As you all say that, a certain princess walks into the bar and accidentally bumps into the Orion. And let's say a confrontation begins to brew as the Orion gets very animated and shouting at the certain princess. So that's exciting.
Yay.
Yeah, I think with that, we're going to take a 5 to 10 minute break here. We'll be back shortly, everybody. Stick around. All right, and welcome back to part 2 of session 3 of Star Trek Adventures Showa Station. If you're just joining us, well, the players have handled a somewhat domestic disturbance on the promenade. They've added a few colorful shops and clinics and booths and things of that regard. But in doing so, they've actually ironically created a problem of their own doing, where apparently a Ferengi was selling a very lifelike model, which was tapped into a unforeseen and unknown security channel, which basically allowed anyone who was on the channel to look anywhere on the station, even the classified areas of the station, which is a big no-no. So Callahan and Shi'shista are now on their way to confront not only the Ferengi's brother, who was the one that made the model, but also apparently the Master Chief Orion, who clued them in. But if that wasn't bad enough, the Ferengi and the Orion are now in a fight with the princess from last 2 sessions. And that's where we're going to arrive, is Callahan and Shi'shista. You walk into Liquor's Logical as the bartender's doing their best to calm the situation down, but the princess is not quite hulking out, but she is definitely filling out her uniform, is what I would say, as the Orion is yelling up at her, saying, "What are you doing? I know you're the princess and all that crap, but you don't actually have a rank. Technically, even though I'm a Master Chief, I outrank you, and I demand that you clean this up this instance." And the princess, in a very painfully reserved voice, you can tell that she's trying not to hulk out. She's like, "I'm sorry, I did not mean to bump into you. It was an honest mistake." "I don't care if it was an honest mistake. Do you know how much it get this wine out of this uniform? Do you have any idea what it takes?" And at this point, as Callahan and Shi'shista, as you walk in, the bartender almost looks to you with a pleading look, like, can you handle this for me, kind of a thing.
I was gonna do a quick little wait before Shi'shista just hulks out and goes all in on him. I'm just gonna walk right up to the Master Chief, put my hand on the shoulder, and be like, "Amazingly enough, I do have a rank as well, and mine is telling you to sit down, shut up, and stop causing trouble."
And since you pulled rank and she is a member of Starfleet, she's going to look at you and go, "Yes, sir," and sits down very quickly.
That's better. Also, and thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to wave Shi'shista over. I'm like, "It just so happens you two were the exact people we wanted to talk to. I wonder
Rule of
why
Acquisition
that could
15.
be."
If they're looking for you, you did something wrong. Wait, was that 17? I think
that all
17.
depends.
Oh dear.
Well, it's time we all have a little chat, shall we?
Now, I'm going to streamline this a little bit, because as fun as it is to play a Ferengi voice, I do want to streamline it and get the others involved a little bit more. So, what sort of questions would you have for the Ferengi brother, which, Taraz, if you have another Ferengi name, we can actually name the brother. And then what questions do you have for the Orion engineer? Did I give her a name? I don't think I gave her a name, did I?
Yes, you.
Gina.
Gina, that's what her name is. Yeah. There it is.
I think Shi'shista's main questions for the engineer would be, how did you find out about this? Who else knows? I think those are the first
And why
two.
didn't you tell us?
Okay. So he's going to do a lot of pointing at Gina, and Gina's going to basically tell you that it was something where Starfleet Intelligence asked to have a private channel, but then they never got back to her with the code frequency. And by the time the station was finished, it was a little late to go back and shut off that frequency. So she more or less technobabbles and says that she knows how to shut it off, and Vokaya could do it herself if, she was clued in. But it was meant to be a Starfleet Intelligence channel. Now, as for who knows about it, the good news is that the Ferengi brother does confirm that only he, what was his name? Tanek, I think was his name, was the merchant. Tanek the Merchant and the Orion Gina are the only ones that actually know about this channel aside from you all.
Shishista's gonna like approach and get all up on Gina's, entering her personal bubble, if you
Okay.
will.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't hear anything back from Starfleet Intelligence, why didn't you shut it off?
I mean this respectfully, ma'am, but aren't you technically with Starfleet Intelligence?
I am the one asking questions.
Yeah, that's
I understand
exactly
that, ma'am,
something
but
intelligence would say.
What I mean by that, ma'am, is I mean, if you're Starfleet Intelligence, you know how Starfleet Intelligence works. You just kind of do what they say and don't ask questions.
Yes, but I also don't peep on people. Have you been peeping?
No. What is this all about? What have you done? Looking at the brother. Well, I may have sort of made a cool model. What do you mean you made a cool model?
You should know when you give anything like this to a Ferengi that it's going to end poorly.
Really? Is it like a Ferengi? Like, honestly, he and his brother are the first Ferengi I've ever met. Like, they just seem like really eager to get information. Am I in major trouble?
Yes, you're in major trouble.
You passed on a classified feed to all access areas of this station to the one group of brothers on the ship that would immediately try to miniaturize and sell it to the highest bidder. If we didn't catch this, we could have literally people seeing every area of this ship, including, say, things where secrets could be, our engineering, what we're doing, our defenses.
Including you.
I now see how foolhardy it was for me to have said anything. I guess I'm relieved of duty? And she kind of cringes a little bit.
We're going to speak to your immediate commanding officer. That will be Vokoya's immediate charge unless the Commodore has something she personally would like to do to you.
Oh, fun. What about me? Am I in trouble? Or I just made the model. That's all I did.
I don't want to see you anymore.
Okay,
Why
bye.
are you still
and
in
starts
front of
running. I mean, unless anybody stops him, he is legit going to run from Liquor's Launch. He is just going to book it.
She's not going to stop him.
No, that sounds fun. We're more concerned with the Starfleet personnel who did this.
Now, the princess, for her part, does start to chase after the Ferengi, but stops and goes,
Leave him.
Leave him? Oh, all right, ma'am, as you wish.
Say, take a breather.
It's not worth it.
Not with it, aye.
And we have his brother, so he can't go too far.
Fair. So as that's all going, we're going to turn our attention over to Vokaya and Taraz, where I'd like to imagine you two at this point, you've taken over a conference room where the full table is almost just the model that you've confiscated. And Taraz and Vokaya, you are inspecting the model, going through, running scans on it. And at some point, the other two will walk in and you'll have a full meeting. But I wanted to, again, give you guys an opportunity to, bust your chops here and show what everybody you got going on. So yeah, what would you like to do as you're looking at this model?
Yeah, so like you said, it's all, it's taking up most of the table, and the rest of the table are her tools and her diagnostic stuff, and she's in her, same thing in her overalls over top of her Starfleet uniform. So every little pocket, she's pulling out another screwdriver or tool or something to try to analyze how they're tapped into the system and how to shut it down.
Okay. What about you, Taraz? What are you doing during all of this?
Well, Vokaya is taking it apart, physically checking things out. Assuming now they know about this feed, Taraz would be trying to find that feed.
Okay.
So either you want do this as a role, or maybe tap one of her talents for this.
Take a look at the rumor talents real quick.
She had the one about the rumors.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I just got to look at the wording on it. Let's see. Yeah, I tell you what, if you want to add the one to threat to ask the two questions, I'm totally okay with that.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, so just let everybody know I can ask two questions here, and the source of the information is they come from rumors, just scuttlebutt across the station. So anything related, it could be anything really, but I try to pertain it to this.
Cool.
I think maybe has Taraz, heard about any of it? Like, did she know about this feed and maybe had assumed it was turned off?
So I would say that based on your knowledge of Starfleet intelligence, because you're a Commodore, you at least see some things come across your desk. You would know that, yeah, there were rumors among the engineering crew that Starfleet intelligence was trying to install something special on the station, but you didn't really connect the dot to it being this special channel, if you get what I'm saying.
And has she heard about any personnel that may have been taking advantage of some of the new systems on Showa like this?
I would say not that you're made aware of, but you would again get Gina's name as someone who worked on it, potentially hands on.
So yeah, she's definitely pulling up her personnel file and just kind of, I imagine her kind of like pacing the room as Okai is working at the table, just looking at this pad and going over it. Okay, what have you found so far?
As far as I can tell, this signal seems legitimate Starfleet tech. It seems like the Frangies didn't really tap into anything, and I didn't really expect them to. This seems like it's directly connected to our operating system here.
The question is, how did they find out about it?
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. It doesn't, like, they would have had to know. They would have had to know what they were doing or be handed it to them to be able to get to this level. I'm still looking into it, but that's my assumption.
Okay, so I think then in contact Shi'shista and Callahan to find out what they've learned. Yeah. Since we know they went to the brig.
Yep. So they'll come up and join you in probably about 2-3 minutes real time.
Okay.
But Vokaya, now that you are hands-on poking and prodding, if you could give me an insight in an engineering at a difficulty of 1, and again, you would have a focus in this regard.
Would testing a theory come into this, since I've already worked on this tech?
It would
previously?
Indeed. Yeah, it definitely would. I just got to remind myself whether that lowers the difficulty or gives you an additional die. I never remember.
I think it gives me an additional die.
I'm inclined to believe you. So let me just quickly look it up to make sure. Testing a theory.
Try to get
testing. There it
momentum.
Is. Yeah, it's an additional 1d20 as long as you succeeded at a previous test. Yeah, so you would be at 3d20 to start.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, focus on.
All right, and it looks like, one success with a complication. So, how do I say this? You do succeed, but you can't really just shut off the signal, because what you're realizing is that the signal is, how do I say this? For lack of a better term, it's built in to the security feeds of the stations, which might seem like a tautology, but what I mean is, in order to shut off the signal, you would have to shut off the legit security feeds, meaning that Shi'shista and her minions would be in the dark.
Meaning this is a legitimate feed. It's not just a tap into
Correct.
A feed?
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay, for sure. Yeah, so as I see this come up on my diagnostic or whatever I've plugged into this thing, I turn around. Commander, I can't shut this thing down. This isn't a tap. They've actually got access to a legitimate security feed here. And that's, I'm guessing, how the hologram, type image is being projected as well. They must have access to comm badges and I don't know. Are there cameras on? There's cameras on the station, isn't there? They might be tapped into those too.
Are we in here at that point?
Yeah, we'll say you walk in right about then.
And they also seem to have this miniaturized hologram technology. That's actually quite intriguing.
Even in the even in the fields, that I've worked on with building fleets, I've never seen technology quite like this.
I think whenever Shi'shista comes in hot, it's hashtag Shishista's bad day. Bokaya, one of your underlings is responsible for this.
Your Master Chief, Gina.
So I'll also just hold her data pad.
She
This Master Chief Gina.
Well, probably soon to be former Master Chief Gina.
She turns around
Exactly.
she turns around at all three of them, with the accusations, right? And she's like, yeah, okay, I wouldn't doubt it. She's definitely been the most distracted on the team, but I can't say that I ever expected anything like this from her. I have a feeling that this is more ignorance than full out deceit.
I mean, it's probably just a stupid mistake, but a stupid mistake we cannot allow and there has to be consequences for.
Agreed.
What did you learn as far as her giving this information to the Ferengi?
She's going to pointedly look at the Commodore. She's never met Ferengi before.
Very well. Well, that aside, why would she suddenly share a Starfleet video feed with anybody? Non-Starfleet or not? Did she have an answer for that?
She seemed more scared than willing to give answers, probably in the thinking she was doing something totally innocent and now just finally realizing the consequences of her actions. But we might be able to find out something more. She's currently in a holding cell.
And Vokoi's like, yep, I see her right there. And she looks at the model on the table.
Yeah, I
don't like it.
I hate that too. We heard you were saying something when we were walking in. Does this mean we can't shut this off? Can we at least put a passcode or something on it that only the command staff can access in a special circumstance? Or
I can definitely try if that's what's wanted. We can lock this for our side. I could try.
It's like we lock it down with only the Commodore has the access to it.
I agree.
Or if we were to shut it down completely, I realize that would mean the security feeds as well. How long would that take?
I'm not sure. I could try to estimate how long those feeds would be down for. GM?
Next Tuesday.
About just over a week, Commander.
I would prefer not to be without my feeds for an entire week. Who knows what kind of mayhem could erupt on the station?
What could possibly go wrong?
Weren't you supposed to be finding a bauble or something?
She's just gonna look at him. She doesn't say anything. She just looks at him. And if anyone looks at her hands, her claws are kind of going in and out.
Tail is just whipping.
Rocket, I just had the most brilliant idea. Would you like me to whisper it to you?
Yes.
I'll whisper it to you. And I'm going to let you be the arbiter of whether or not you actually realize this in character, but ignore me. Continue on with the scene.
Yeah, if we turn this off, then we're going to be down for a while. I can set up the system to look like it's still active. The little lights on the cameras will still be going, but you won't be able to see anything live.
You said you were seeing something with this hologram technology. You said this is actually quite advanced?
I've never seen anything like it before.
So I propose we, as an olive branch to these somehow surprisingly technically advanced Ferengi, that in return for we do not completely kick them off the station, they have to give us some insights on this little special stuff that they can do.
Yeah, I'm assuming they took this technology or traded it from somebody else, so we should try to get that information from them. I don't think this is Frangie tech at all.
Agreed.
I'll look at Shi'shista and be like, I'll handle talking to that. We'll let you keep being the bad guy. You seem to enjoy doing it to them.
Well, I have something else that I think the Ferengi could do to make up for this.
Oh,
What's that, Commander?
She just like kind of just makes a real disgusted face. Kill, what is it you say, 2 birds with 1 stone?
you had
As
me.
long as we...
Had me at kill, yeah.
Yeah, say you had me concerned there at first. You've been very aggressive today. I was worried what you were actually going to do.
she like, her tail goes like right up to his face. I am not more aggressive today than usual.
And I'm just gonna like kind of pat the tail aside. Sure, we'll go with that.
Anyway, so long as I still have to find this heirloom and we have access to this horrific concoction, she gestures to the model. Well, I might as well have eyes looking for it on there that aren't mine.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't really want to turn this thing off. I want to check this out more.
As long as we can find a way to at least lock it down so we don't know who else could pry into this. Because the last thing we need is someone looking at this meeting right now, for instance.
Agreed.
Where do you want me to take this to secure it and continue to work on it? Engineering or a security lab?
It's rather large.
We know you want it in your command room. Just say it.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, that actually sounds cool. There you go.
Yeah.
That way I always
Now
have
that you
eyes on
mention
it.
Yeah,
I like it.
She's like just looking at the door, looking back at the model, looking at the door.
Lift with your knees, Wakaya.
Yeah, okay. She's like trying to see how she can take some fins off or something.
Mm.
And so are the two commanders going to be going back to talk with the Ferengi, or are they talking with Gina?
I will go talk with the Ferengi, since I was the nicer of the two of us in those conversations.
Make sure to tell them they're going to be spending their time looking for a gemstone the size of an American baseball or something.
Yes, the good old American soccer hand egg. I'll get them right on it.
Hmm.
Taraz would like to deal with the Gina situation.
Okay.
And I think before going to see her, she would want to reach out. And I kind of want to tap a value here, but I know there's no role. So I don't know if that's...
I mean, values are kind of guiding principles of your character, acting to them.
Kind of more of a role play thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to tap her value, friends in all the places.
Okay.
And reach out to the Starfleet JAG, essentially.
Okay. I have to scramble to make a Starfleet JAG character, but that's what I'm doing.
I mean, it could, be like
pretty
next session or something.
Nah, you know what? I've been pretty much, this entire session has been player generated, which I love. So let's see. You know what? I think it's funny. We're going to make him a Tellarite, and his name will be, you know what? I can bring back Weak Ass, which I will spell in chat, because that was legitimately a name Roll20 spat at me once, and I just found it funny. So he is Commander Wee. That is literally what Roll20 spat at me one day. He is...
Sounds like a Bart Simpson prank call.
That's, like I said, when I read it, I had to continue the line. But he is your JAG officer, and he is a Tellarite.
Okay, it's WeCaf.
We kiss, we cast, whatever way you want to say it. It's mostly for giggles.
It's Wakase.
There you go, Wakase. I love it.
And what is his rank?
He's a commander.
Okay. So while Xena is stewing down in the brig, Taraz will have some civilian clothes sent over to her, and order Shi'shista to have all of her Starfleet clothing, communicator, all that taken away. Just let her stew some more in the brig. Total cold shoulder treatment, and I think go up to command to make a phone call.
Okay. Now, what I would actually say is that you have a JAG office on the station. So,
do we? Okay.
Yeah. You just have to walk into their offices and say hello.
Make a phone call into their office to be more.
Make a phone call
Establish
from make a phone call from their office. Okay. Then Taraz would definitely go into the JAG department there on the base, or on the station.
Yeah, and what I would say, it's probably on like deck 2 or 3, so it's pretty high up there next to the command center. But yeah, you walk in. It's a fairly small office, all things considered. You've got the United Federation of Planets flag in one corner. You've got Starfleet's flag in the other. And then there's just a desk, and behind it is the portly Tellarite that we Cass, we're calling him, I believe. Or we Cass, we'll figure it out. But he just kind of looks at you and he says, "Well, I wasn't quite expecting to see you here today, Commodore. What do I owe the pleasure?"
"Oh, do I have some fun for you, Weecast?" And she'll hand over the data pad to the desk, to him, and how are you with breach of protocols, Starfleet espionage?
Well, let's take a look here. Oh, that doesn't look quite good for her, but I'm going to assume you don't want me to leak this information about the security channel, but well, I see this going one of two ways, ma'am. Either we throw the book at her, or we give her I wouldn't even call it a penal sentence, but she works her time, if you get my meaning.
A little bit of both, I think. Works her time and maybe a demotion as well.
Well, I'm content to do both of those things. I just need you to sign off on it.
So, try to find the most remote Starfleet station or ship, posting, essentially.
Ironically, that's you guys, actually. You are the farthest out, the most remote.
Can we make her Ensign Rocky's flight assistant while he's fixing everything?
Lord. I don't know, does that count as cruel and unusual punishment? Like, let's be real here for a moment.
I hope so.
Tell you what, let's meta this a little bit. Yeah, we can make her the liaison to a certain ensign pilot.
Yes.
But would you want to bust her down to senior chief, or maybe all the way down to just chief, or
all the way down?
All the way down. So just a chief. Okay. Honestly, that is a totally acceptable sentence. Like, Starfleet intelligence and Starfleet things of that nature, they really are hard asses. So you are going very nicely on her, is what I would say. But yeah, JAG officer writes, kind of does his dotting his I's and crossing the T's and goes, "Well, guess it just depends whether I'm delivering the news or whether you would like to, Commodore."
"I will do it. That's fine."
"Very good. And may I say, Commodore, that your banter needs a little bit more work. I was expecting to argue a little bit today."
Espionage kind of does that to me. It'll be better next time.
"That's good, because the only other person I've had a good argument besides you is that Tellarite, what is his name, Wham or something?"
Yeah, Bananarama, Wang Chung, Wham, something like that.
"Oh, Wham Chung, I like that. I'm going to use that." Yeah, we're now going to cut down to... Who do I want to go to? Let's go to Volkaya real quick before we go to Shi'shista and Callahan. So, Volkaya, technically you were never given orders not to say hello to your former or will-be former Master Chief. Would you like to check in on her? Totally your call if you do or do not.
Yeah, I would say as her commanding officer or no, commanding officer. Was she on my team? Was that
She was, yeah.
just
She
the-
was
Yeah,
she
yeah.
was part of your engineering team.
Yeah. So I would say with that in mind, I would check in on her for sure.
Okay. So where we see Shi'shista and Callahan in one part of the security annex, we've got kind of just a camera pan over to you, Volkaya, talking to Gina. And Gina has changed into the civilian clothing that was sent to her. And, she sounds really worried. She sounds like, as you said, she knows she's been caught. She realizes what she did is wrong. And there's a lot of remorse in her voice. And she actually not quite, crying, but there's definitely tears in her eyes. And she says, he was a cool alien. I liked his ears. I was just trying to be impressive. I know I did something real bad, Lieutenant Commander. I know I screwed up, but is this the end for me in Starfleet? I mean, I don't want it to be the end of me in Starfleet.
Chief, I gotta say, I'm surprised you're even here right now to have this conversation. I thought Taraz would have had you on the first shuttle back. The fact that it was not only a secure channel, but that you gave it to aliens you knew nothing about is pretty unbelievable, I think. And I just gotta say, I appreciate that you realize what you did wrong now, but I think you really have to reflect on this. For us being so far out, it's important we keep this station secure.
Well, I don't know that it really makes up for anything, but I did manage to do this, and she shows you a pad, and on that pad is a way to encrypt the channel. Maybe it's a cryptographic key, maybe it's something that she had special insight on, that all you have to do is implement, whatever she's showing you, and you have an encrypted channel that supposedly only those with the key can access.
I'll say, did you figure this out afterwards, or did you have this the whole time?
When the Commodore sent me the clothes, I got really worried and I wanted to make things right, so I tried to figure out a solution. Do you think it'd work?
Definitely, I do. This was the right way to go. I'm definitely going to put in a word about this to the commander for you to pass off to Jag, and I think this will reflect well that you've not only corrected your mistake, but you've learned from it.
I appreciate it, ma'am. Do you think Ferengi have mind control abilities? Or maybe they interact with Orion pheromones in a weird way?
They would definitely buy them and sell them if they could, but unfortunately, they are just really good at getting in and making trouble. So keep that in mind. Don't be too hard on yourself. Of all the aliens you could have met, these are the ones that are going to cause some problems, even in the future, probably.
Okay, I know it's kind of late now, but the next time I see a Ferengi, I'm going to punch them in the ears. They're big old stupid ears.
Well, I mean, she's like, you're not wrong, but maybe just don't trade with them or buy anything from them and leave it at that.
I think I could do that. Thank you.
And she turns to go and she comes back. She's like, and if they mention Umox, just walk away.
The way you say that makes me not want to ask, so I'm not going to.
She just laughs and turns.
We now pivot the camera to the left, and we see Shi'shista and Callahan getting more answers out of certain Ferengis, as it were. So yeah, what question do you guys want to start with? I guess is really the main question here.
I would say pretty much starting with anything Callahan has. I think as soon as Shi'shista has her time, she's just going to get their eyes on the model.
And I'm going to go look into... I'm going to say, you already talked to them about that, because I'm sure you were quite anxious to peddle that off on them as soon as possible.
Oh, yes.
I'll just say, well, In the meantime, while you are combing for this thing, we do have some good news for you that we do want you to actually stay around. We've liked your shop, we like some of the stuff you do, but due to the little mishap, you need to help us out on a couple things. Would this be agreeable?
Like Frankie brothers look at each other, and Tanek says, "Rule of acquisition number 312. Always suck up to the boss." And his brother slaps and says, "You idiot! That's rule number 23." "You sure?" "Yeah, it's 23."
Either way, I'll take that as a yes. So that miniature hologram technology in your model, where'd that come from?
And they look at each other. They look at you. They look at Shi'shista. They look at each other. Back to Shi'shista. Then back to them. Then back to Shi'shista. And
She just starts getting closer. Every
I think
time
that's
they
all it
look
takes.
back.
I don't think we need to roll here.
It's like a
Yeah.
cat when you look away and you look back and they're suddenly just right there.
So I think the I'm gonna give the brother a name. Let me actually give the brother a name. I'm gonna call him. Let's
I put one
call
down
him
in the chat.
Hadid. And the reason I'm doing Hadid is because I think Hadid's actually like a famous architect, if I remember correctly, which would make sense with the models. So you know what? We're gonna run with it. Hadid. That is the brother's name. So Hadid, starts to sweat as much as a Ferengi can and goes, "Well, I may have acquired that technology for model purposes. It doesn't just have to tap into a security feed. It could just literally show any image you want in small model form."
Where? The question was where.
"Oh, well, do you know this location in the galaxy?" And he rattles off like stellar coordinates, and if you check it on your pad, it's like way into the Alpha Quadrant, past any Federation space, like even way past you guys. Like it's out there. But if you were to look at like a next generation star chart, it would be very firmly in the Breen Confederacy if you want to really have a spot, know where to look for.
I'm gonna look and be like, interesting. I was reading a thing about that. So you just took it from them? Or was it
We acquired it legally. It was a fair and honest trade.
Oh, of course. Who would do anything as to try to tap into something illegally?
If we say yes, will you get her to stop staring at us like that?
I'm gonna go say yes, and she will politely leave unless she needs to come back.
Then
Don't
yes.
make me need to come back.
No, we're behaving. We're being cooperative.
And when they say that, she's gonna turn around, like walk toward the door, and then stop, and without even turning to look at them again. "The heirloom. You will be finding the heirloom." And she just
Wait,
walks
hold on. You mean Wham's heirloom?
Yes.
Turns around and like charges back in, like right up to the force field. "Yes, that one."
He I don't know how to tell you this, but he got drunk the other night, and there was a pretty Orion lady. Not that one, a different Orion. He maybe sort of gave her his heirloom because he was trying to peacock.
You just see like her eyes just like dilate, and she, without a word, she very deliberately stalks out, and one can probably guess where she's headed.
Oh yeah. And we're going to get to that in a moment, but I did want to have a quick scene between Taraz and Vokaya, because you're going to run into each other as you are leaving the brig, Vokaya, and obviously Taraz, you're coming in, because I did want to give you that moment to discuss things now that you obviously have a way to encrypt the channel, etc., etc.
Yeah, so she walks out of the brig and sees you, Commander. I have good news. Gina found out a way how to encrypt the channel, so I can get right on this if you want.
How convenient.
I could see how it looks that way, but I definitely think she's trying to make this right.
Very well.
Should I proceed?
Yes, but we will be ensuring that all of her access is restricted.
Yeah, yes, sir.
She will have a security clearance of negative.
Understood. I can definitely just have her scrubbing the nacelles for now.
All right, I have something special in mind. Something to make use of her unique talents.
I'm guessing that means I'll leave all the disciplinary actions up to you, Commander.
I would like for you to be present for it.
Understood. I'd like to be there also.
So yeah, with that, head on into the brig.
You walk back into the brig as Shi'shista is leaving the brig. And yeah,
She
Gina
like
is
piles through the both of you and she doesn't say she's sorry. She doesn't say anything.
She's totally
just like
she's having a bad day. It's okay.
I think she's just having a bad day.
Almost her ears are almost flat against her head. Her tail is just like
almost on all fours. Jeez.
yeah. Oh, I love it. But yeah, Vokai and Taraj, Gina is where you left her in the holding cell for the time being.
So Roz will just go up to the holding cell and stand there with her hands behind her back for a moment, just kind of watching, seeing what Gina is doing.
And she's just kind of nervously looking back at you. I mean, she's kind of at attention, but also very relaxed. It's kind of a weird situation where she doesn't know if she should be at attention or she should be sitting. Like, she's very awkwardly trying to read your body language to what she should do.
Completely stoic Vulcan at the moment.
Which, you know, obviously makes it difficult for her.
So, Gina.
Yes, Commodore?
You helped build Showa Station.
I spent a lot of time on it, yeah.
And I appreciate that. What I don't appreciate is people giving away secrets of the station, if you will.
Understandable, sir.
I'm curious as to why you shared the information of this feed to someone who was clearly not a superior.
Well, I mean, I wasn't really paying total attention to the conversation that the commanders were having, but I like one of the words that they used, the peacocking. Yeah, I was just trying to be cool with some new alien I met in a bar. I didn't think it would actually lead to anything.
And I'm sure you've realized by now that this is definitely something you should not have done.
Yeah. I'm guessing by the fact I'm in civilian clothes that I guess I need to go pack my things and get back going to Earth or something. Maybe I can join the merchant fleet.
Well, as of now, you're currently relieved of duty until the next solar month. I don't know what the time equivalent is.
30 days, we'll say.
Yeah. During that time, I want you to think about what has happened. And also think about what could have happened. And she'll look very, very pointedly at her and arch her eyebrow. And also consider how easy you're getting off.
And she almost is like at a loss for words. She doesn't really know how to reply. Like, her mouth opens and closes a few times, but she doesn't actually reply outright.
So in addition to being relieved of duty for 1 month, you're also going to be demoted to the rank of chief. All of your security qualifications or access will be revoked. And you will be working directly with Lieutenant Commander Vokaya. You will be her shadow. Do I make myself clear?
Crystal, ma'am?
I hope something like this doesn't happen again.
Oh, it won't. I promise.
And then just without another word, she just turns about, gives a very slight nod that, Vokai would pick up, then walks out.
And with that, she kind of looks back at Gina and she's like, I get it now. The commander's saying you need to be my shadow, but I'm going to be yours. And with that, she walks out. Meaning, I'm going to keep an eye on you.
Yeah. Our final scene is going to be Wham at his general goods booth, store, whatever we want to call it. And he's currently polishing what looks to be an alien apple. It's a strange blue color. And he's just minding those business and goes, oh, man, that Cation earlier, man, she has got a stick. Oh, shit. And we just see Shi'shista almost like all fours just beelining for him. He's like, well, I lived a good life. I made a lot of money, and I have only one regret, and that is that we never find out that regret is, because that's when Shi'shista just slams into him, I like to imagine.
Oh, she like comes right up to him, and then how tall is he? Just have
he's a Tellarite, so he's like maybe 4 feet tall. They're small.
Fantastic. Shi'shista is on the taller end of her species, which means in feet that puts her at about 6.5 feet. Mm-hmm. So she comes over and she grabs him, like her claws are out. She like probably rips his clothes off. She grabs him and just lifts him to where he's eye height with her.
Mm-hmm.
You,
me,
gambled your heirloom away, and you have the gall to have me looking for it?
Okay, I now have 2 regrets.
and she brings him real close to her face. Call security. Go ahead. Call them.
Meow.
And she's going to like kind of chuck him on the ground. Yeet might be an appropriate word for this. She yeets him to the ground, and then she kind of looks around because he can get things, right.
Oh,
like
yeah.
his store is kind of a general store. He can get things.
Oh yeah.
And so she kind of looks around, make sure there's no one in the immediate proximity. All right, listen, you're going to do something for me.
What do you want me to get for you?
Looks around again. I hate to share this with you, but I was on the waiting list to adopt a human kitten, and someone else got in and got it before I did. And that does not please me.
Referring to the black American domesticated long hair?
You shall refer to her as Fluffy Pants.
I will make sure that Fluffy Pants becomes yours once she arrives at the station.
Good. And she's gonna like turn around, stalk away, and then turn back around and then like do the kind of stalk off.
And as that happens, we sort of pull back from the station, but we actually see it's the Commodore in her office looking at the station's model, and then we pull out of the Commodore's office to actual space. And that is where we'll end today's session. So yeah. So, small disclaimer, that was entirely player-generated. I just threw in a few ideas along the way, so you all did a phenomenal job tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the hell out of it.
It was so fun. Everyone's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, you rocked that episode. Everybody did. That was great.
Yeah. All right. Well, YouTube, this is where we're going to say goodbye, but Twitch, stick around. We're going to rate somebody. So, YouTube, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you around. Bye, YouTube.